Hey there. Have you heard about the latest buzz surrounding electric cars in the EU? It seems like there's a bit of a showdown brewing between the bloc and Chinese car makers, and the stakes are high. So, what's the deal? Well, according to some fresh analysis, it looks like the EU might need to slap hefty tariffs of around 50% to put the brakes on the flood of affordable Chinese electric vehicles pouring into the market. But hold on to your seats, because the story doesn't end there. Despite the looming threat of tariffs, it seems like Chinese car makers aren't sweating it too much. Researchers at the Rhodium Group reckon that even if the EU decides to impose duties in the 15–30% range, it might not be enough to deter them. In fact, they argue that tariffs in the 40–50% range would probably be necessary to really make a dent in the European market. That's some serious stuff. Take BYD's CLU, for example. It's priced at 20,500 euros in China, but goes for a whopping 42,000 euros in the EU. Crazy, right? But even with the current tariffs, Chinese manufacturers like BYD are still raking in hefty profits. Now, you might be wondering, why all this fuss over tariffs? Well, it turns out that imports from China, including electric vehicles, have been skyrocketing. In just 3 years, they jumped from $1.60 bean to a staggering $11.50 bean. And Chinese brands are snagging a bigger slice of the pie, with their market share rising to 8% last year. But wait, there's more. If you thought this was just a tussle between the EU and Chinese car makers, think again. German and US car manufacturers, who also have a stake in the Chinese market, could be feeling the heat too. And what's China's take on all this? They're not too happy about it, that's for sure. They're calling foul play, saying their companies are simply more competitive. It's a classic case of he said, she said. So, when can we expect some action on this front? Well, preliminary duties might be coming as early as May, with permanent ones potentially following in November. It's definitely going to be a nail-biter. But here's the kicker: while tariffs might put a dent in Chinese exports, they're not likely to slow down production anytime soon. Chinese car makers have been investing big bucks in factories, gearing up to churn out millions of electric vehicles every year. With the US already tightening the screws with tariffs, the EU has become the next battleground. But fear not, EU policymakers might have a few tricks up their sleeves. They could tighten the screws on security grounds or focus more on supporting homegrown electric car models. So, there you have it, the electrifying saga of the EU's battle with Chinese car imports. It's a wild ride, and we'll be keeping a close eye on how it all unfolds. Stay tuned for more updates.